Hey, GMP fans, we're back, and I'm a little nervous now because I've already been freaked out by my Alexa, thinking it's listening to everything I'm saying. But after watching this movie, I'm definitely paranoid because today we're covering the 1998 techno thriller, Enemy of the State.
Welcome to Popcorn Talk, featuring movie discussion, news, and interviews. Popcorn Talk, we talk movies. And now, here's Popcorn Talk's Guilty Movie Pleasures.
Hello? 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 Just making sure all my bugs are set and ready to go.
Yeah, everyone's listening.
Everyone's listening.
Yeah.
I like to have 360 degrees of bugs.
You don't want to do anything about it. You just want to.
This bug's the best because every time I open it, it just clanks a whole lot, like to whoever's listening in on me.
Definitely.
And then there's the awkward like slurp noise in the backwash.
I do want to point out you said 360 degrees of bugs, and you checked probably like a 30-degree range.
I checked. Yeah, but there's others. It's just I have to reach for.
You didn't.
them.
Yeah, you didn't go anywhere near the back of you.
Hey, welcome to Guilty Movie Pleasures, everybody. If you haven't, whoa! I love canned applause.
That's in studio. You guys can't see it, but all those people are in studio.
It's actually a giant studio.
We appreciate each and every one of you that clapped.
Thank you. Thank you all.
And for those of you that clapped at home, thank you as well.
7,000 of you. If you haven't joined us before, thanks for being here. And if you are coming for the 575th episode that we've been here, we appreciate that as well. I'm Ben Begley, your host, and with me as always...
Jesse McIntosh.
Yes, the co-host with the mostest.
The mo-host. The
mo-host with the most...
We're going to workshop it.
We're going to workshop that for next week.
We're going to figure it out.
So we have some cool stuff that happened in between we've had some great reviews. We've had some good
we appreciate
Twitter
all the
comments.
love coming
I hope you know
us.
that we read all the comments, we read all the tweets, we try to respond to as many of them as possible. Unless, of course, you troll us five comments in a row, then eventually we're just going to give up and agree to disagree. But we did have some great positive stuff this week. Jesse, you found one on iTunes, right?
Yeah, there were a couple on iTunes, actually. I think it's either Bo I or Bo L.
Bo L. Yeah, I don't know if it's a lowercase L or a...
I'm going to go I because there's a period after it.
Go
so
Bo
we'll
I.
go Bo I. Boy.
Apparently, he's been just jamming on our episodes ever since he heard the Pet Sematary one.
Yeah.
And laughing hysterically with his headphones on while cleaning the house, and his wife or girlfriend thinks he's nuts.
I do that listening to nothing.
Yeah.
I just have my headphones in
Same.
with no sound coming in.
Do
and
you
I just laugh
ever...
hysterically.
I've done that before where, like... if I'm somewhere like the subway or something and I don't want anyone to talk to me, but I don't have a signal and have no music queued up, I just put headphones in to be like, all right.
Yeah, just absolutely.
Don't talk to me.
Yeah.
Who am I kidding? We don't ride the subway in L.A.
But, generally, when you're around...
The metaphorical subway of life.
Yes.
So thanks, Bo. And he also was asking something that I don't think has ever been asked before. And if it has, super fans, I apologize, because we have some great super fans out there. But I don't remember anybody asking about T-shirts or merch. So that's a new concept to us. We could get these sweet logos or other logos. We could figure out some fun merch if there's anybody interested. So make sure to comment on our YouTube videos, on our iTunes podcast, and make sure you tweet at us.
Yeah,
if we get enough interest, maybe we'll get some T-shirts.
The only way it'll happen is if we get the interest shown to us.
Imagine just like a giant face of mine and yours.
Mm-hmm. And then in between a face of Channing Tatum.
Yeah.
I don't know if we can get that. Are we allowed to do that?
I don't think so. Those will have to be free giveaways.
Jury's out. I'm going to talk to my lawyer.
But no, we'll do better T-shirts than that. Anyways, so let us know. And as always, if you give us reviews, it helps our podcast and our videos and all that stuff go higher up in the algorithms. I don't know that stuff. Yeah. Ryan knows all about it. He just tells me, hey, say reviews. And I go, cool. And then I just ramble about movies. He's the man with the plan.
Listen, I also know the word algorithms.
You do know that word.
So that makes two of us.
So now, this week, I know the first comment that's going to be on YouTube or on Twitter
can already see it.
Is immediately going to be, how is this a guilty movie pleasure?
Yes.
It's not. It's not. Sometimes we change it up. And you know how this happened this week? I asked Jesse, because poor Jesse gets subjected. The user suggestions are great, because then it's just both of us are just taking whatever users suggest. But Jesse's been doing this for a while with me, and a lot of times he just lets me choose. And for better or worse, a lot of times it's been worse for you. Not always.
Not always.
But sometimes it's been worse.
Yeah.
When it has been worse, it's been real bad.
Sure.
What's the worst one you've had to watch?
Oh, I mean, Transformers.
The movie? No, not the animated one.
Yeah.
Godzilla King of Monsters was a little bit more rough.
That was bad. There have been a couple. I would have
You
to
just
scroll
pissed
back
someone
through.
off so much with saying
the
Transformers
same.
the movie.
Listen, the same way I pissed them off when we did the episode. It's fine.
I didn't expect so much anger from that.
I know. It's fine. We all have our own opinions. Two minds can disagree on it. It's
Which I
all
liked.
right.
This is an example of a great debate. We love debates, but if you come at us guns blazing attacking us, we're just going to be like, all right, never mind. Yeah, but you had a great debate on the comments.
If you throw personal insults at us, we're not going to engage with that. But if you just disagree, please feel free to voice your disagreement in a respectful way, and we will have that conversation with you.
Now, enough about all that stuff.
Yeah.
The way this episode happened was I asked Jesse to give me a list of his favorite movies, action 90s, things that he would consider guilty but didn't have to be that, and this was one of your top 10.
Yeah.
And so I hadn't seen it since like the 90s, or since early 2000s, and I was excited to revisit it. It's classic Tony Scott and Jerry Bruckheimer team up. So Jesse, tell us why this is one of your favorites.
Yeah, so I would actually argue, so the term guilty movie pleasure, I would actually argue that this could be perceived a guilty movie pleasure because I might feel a little guilty saying that this is one of my favorite movies of all time.
Really?
Not just that it's a great movie,
because
you could say that. It's one of my favorite, most rewatchable, popcorn movies that I
Give me
ever
two
seen.
More of your favorite of all time.
Oh, they wouldn't really fit into this category, I don't think. But some of the
I'm gonna love it if your next one is Requiem for a Dream and Citizen Kane. Rosebud.
we have to talk about Kevin. Is my
I think it's we need to talk about Kevin.
That's how much I enjoyed it. Is I forgot the name. That one that's actually one that I saw once and will never see again, but I have not stopped thinking about.
I've never seen it.
It's incredible performances, but extremely disturbing.
Yeah.
I would say some of my favorites are this one. Another one we covered, Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves.
Yeah, you love that one.
8 Mile is one of my favorite movies of all time. Good Will Hunting, one of my favorite movies of all time. Another Tony Scott, Man on Fire, is one of my favorite movies of all time. We should do that on
this show because that movie's fantastic.
Yeah.
When he puts a bomb in the dude's ass
it's incredible. I actively avoid engaging in conversation about the Taken movies because it makes me upset because Man on Fire was the same plot but really in my opinion much better.
The only good Taken movie is the first one.
Sure.
The other ones are garbage.
Yeah.
I never even saw the third one because the second one was so bad. But so what do you love about this movie?
I love everything about this movie.
Did you see it in theaters?
I saw it in theaters. I've seen it probably over 20 times since then.
Wow.
I would say this was one of my staples when I had it on. I think I had it on VHS and then I had it on DVD.
Yeah.
And it was just one of my go-tos. If I want to sit down and watch a movie, this is one of the easiest watches, and I can jump in at any point, and it's so much fun. Will Smith.
Bruckheimer had a ton of those in the 90s. The Rock and Bad Boys are two of my go-tos.
Yeah. Bad Boys 2 is another one. That is one of my favorites.
Wait, Bad Boys 2 or Bad Boys as well?
They're both great.
Yeah.
Bad Boys 2 is one of
Really?
Yeah. I love them for different reasons.
Yeah. Bad Boys 2 is, you and Josh McCouga would love to talk about Bad Boys 2. That's one of his favorite movies.
Is it really?
I love Bad Boys 2, but I think it's more of a parody of the first one.
Bad Boys.
The first one is a genuinely great buddy cop action movie.
Bad Boys is a movie.
Yeah.
Bad Boys 2 is an explosion.
It's
one that you can't take your eyes off of.
It's so good. All right, so you can just drop it at any moment.
Yeah, at any moment. Will Smith is, especially this era of Will Smith, is one of my favorite runs that a performer has ever been on.
He was untouchable and then it was Wild Wild West started the decline for him.
Well, I don't know. That was sort of mixed in.
Oh yeah, it was.
Because he did iRobot wasn't as successful, but what's the
I Am Legend?
I Am Legend was very good, I think.
I liked it. I just didn't like that the vampires were CGI.
Sure.
But he was great in it.
Hitchcock is underrated in my opinion.
Hitchcock.
Yeah.
Hancock.
Hitch was the
You were combining
I mixed the two.
You know the one where he's the romantic
comedy superhero.
Yeah.
Well, both of those I think he's
Hancock,
very good in both of those.
I thought Hancock was great,
yeah.
actually. I thought it was a lot of fun.
People I think generally there was sourness towards the turn.
Yeah.
About halfway through. And it feels like a little like two different movies.
I thought that was great.
But I really like it. So this era Will Smith, anything that he's in, I would watch and enjoy.
Same.
So Will Smith as a comedian, Will Smith as an action star, this and Independence Day, I think, were two that utilized him at his best, and Bad Boys also.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think that's great. It's really interesting to watch now because we were talking before we started about all the people who were not really well known at the time.
Yeah.
The cast is just stacked.
It's insane.
It's unbelievable. Like every single person in this is
half my notes are holy shit, Jason Lee, Jack Black, Seth Green, Jamie Kennedy's in this too?
Yeah.
Gabriel Byrne? Oh, he's gone. Where did Gabriel Byrne go?
Right.
And it just goes on and on and on. And it's just like...
Regina King.
I know Gabriel Byrne was... He had just done The Usual Suspect, or was The Usual Suspects after?
It was right around the same time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he had also done Gabriel Byrne did this other movie called The End of Violence, which is a weird surveillance movie too.
Yeah.
But it's Wim Wenders or Wim Wenders.
I don't know.
Doesn't matter.
I don't know.
So anyways.
And then I also love a good conspiracy movie. And I love how well this movie has a lot of balls in the air.
Yeah,
and I love how it folds all of them together in a really neat and tidy package.
Yep. There's one issue we both have, which we'll get into.
Yes, we will get into it.
But overall, I will be honest, I was nervous staring down the barrel of a 2-hour and 12-minute runtime.
Yes.
Because I had worked all weekend and I was stuck watching it last night. I had to finish it the rest this morning, but it moves. It does not feel like as soon, and there's so many awesome chase sequences in this movie. Like even the chase scene with Jason Lee is epic and insane, and like when he gets hit by the fire truck, it's brutal.
Yes.
And just seeing it from, I don't remember, and Ryan, maybe you can look this up while we're going, but I don't remember if this technology, I don't even know how you would look this up, but if this kind of technology was science fiction at the time, or if it was more realistic in '98.
It felt, I sort of feel like I remember it being like a whisper.
Yeah.
Like this is something that everyone is like sort of worried about, but like I don't know
now
if
it's
this
real.
Yeah.
What did you want me to look up?
So, never mind, it's fine. No, forget it. It's
Put
okay.
your 1998 glasses
Come on,
on.
kid.
Got it.
and-
Look up
yeah.
if technology was around.
Ryan was born in
Is
1998.
technology around in 1998?
I actually don't know when you were born.
That's
Ryan.
a great Google.
I'm going to say it was 1998 though. He's much younger than me. That's all
But
I know.
it's sort
he
of-
still has that light in his eyes. And no gray. We're just distinguished. This is creepy. Sorry, just because we were talking about the surveillance.
Uh-huh.
So Reynolds' birthday, Reynolds was the John Voight character,
Yes.
right?
Uh-huh.
His birthday is 9/11.
Right. Yes.
9/11/40, and 9/11. The Hammersley Surveillance Society. It's a surveillance society. The act they're trying to get passed, the Hammersley Act, eventually after 9/11 becomes the Patriot Act. So what they're all afraid of in this movie actually became a reality in the Patriot Act, which is crazy. And the other thing that freaked me out is watching John Voight's performance in this and then watching his recent Twitter videos that he's been doing. I wonder if John Voight thought he was the hero of this movie.
He may have.
Because in real life, if you follow any of the news on John Voight, he is like very, very pro everything that's kind of wrong right now.
Right.
And so I wouldn't doubt if he had no problem just going right into being this kind of corrupt politician.
He was well cast, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, I noticed.
This movie, I think it, so often 90s techno thrillers or like The Net ages terribly now. Like most often thrillers that are paranoid about where society could go, even something like Total Recall or like The Running Man, that was kind of more relevant now. Some movies with time become more relevant and creepy. Like this movie was more of a fun, entertaining ride when I first saw it. Last night watching it, I was like, oh my God, this is like I joked in the beginning, I don't know if you could call it a joke because I don't know if it was funny, but about Alexa. Like how often, do you have an Alexa?
I don't. But it's because Hannah won't let us have one.
I've been in our place. I've mentioned a product.
Yeah.
Mentioned it.
Yeah.
And then suddenly when I'm searching on my phone, it starts popping up in ads and things. And I don't know if that's my phone listening to me or what, but there is definitely, we've
everything.
Signed away.
Everything's all together. I actually
we signed away our privacy.
On the phone with Hannah talking about a movie, and it popped up on her like Netflix suggests.
It's so weird.
The next day.
And half of it doesn't even have to be Alexa or a phone. It's like, how many apps do we download where we just scroll past the terms and services? Like, nah, agree.
I read every single one.
You do?
No.
Yeah. Well, that's like...
I only have 2 apps because I have to read It's a huge burden.
Every
on my life.
3 months, you work through the terms and services of a new app.
And then with the updates, it changes. I have to read all the new ones.
I guess we should start talking about the movie.
We should.
Before our new guests, our new listeners are going to be like, somebody's like, there's a guest coming in? Yeah, they're all sitting here with the 7,000 people.
Yeah, you guys aren't allowed up here. Stay in your seats,
Stay in your
please.
seats, please.
Yeah.
Let's do this plot in under 3 minutes. You ready in the booth there, Ryan?
I'm all set.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ryan in the booth.
All right. I'll count you guys in.
I just want Ryan to do a voiceover for every episode. Coming to you live. Guilty movie pleasures. All right. Count us in.
All right. 3,
You're going to start this
2,
one, Jesse.
1.
All right, so there's a congressman who's going playing with his dog, and John Voight stops him, and he's like, "Hey, we got this bill. Need you to sign it." He's like, "I'm not going to sign it." He's like, "Well, just let your people sign it." He's like, "Nah, it's very dangerous. I'm a very upstanding politician."
Republican at this point.
Yeah, and
that's definitely science fiction.
He's like, "All right, great." And then his cronies kill him. Put a needle in his neck, send his car into the water. That's it. Will Smith is a lawyer who is representing guys who are involved in the mob. So he goes to he sees his ex-girlfriend who's like, "Here's a tape from Brill." He's like, "Here's the money I owe you." There's obviously chemistry between them. Mm-hmm. And so he takes the video and he goes to the mob boss and he's like, "Look, here's a video of you violating your parole."
I want you to do the entire movie.
No, I don't think I can.
Here's a video of you violating your parole. And he's got some balls in there with Tom Sizemore and all these mob dudes. And he's basically like, you have 1 week. Tom Sizemore says, "You have 1 week to tell me who gave you this tape or I'm going to kill you." And he leaves. He's freaked out a little bit. Then he goes Christmas shopping. And while he's Christmas shopping, Jason Lee at the crime scene just shows up, gets the tape from the camera across the way. No one but one FBI agent notices, or government agent. He then leaves. He's starting to look through the tape. He finds out that he has the murder of
Phil Hammersley murder.
Phil Hammersley murder. So he calls his buddy who works for this conspiracy blog, this leftist conspiracy blog, and he tells him. They wiretap it. They hear it. They track him down. They knock on his door. He escapes. While Will Smith is Christmas shopping, they run into each other. He gets the tape that he's copied put into his bag, and then Jason Lee gets hit by a fire engine. And then,
but Will Smith gives him his card. So they search the body. They find the Will Smith's card. They show up at his house, and they're like, "What did the guy give you?" And he's like, "Nothing." And they freak him out a little bit. So he leaves. He searches through the packages. There's nothing there. And then from there, he then he start. Then they start shutting off his credit cards. Yeah.
They start really sabotaging his life. They start because they're like, okay, we got to get ahead of this. If he says anything, we have to discredit him. So they say he's under FBI investigation. They make his wife think he's cheating on her, and she gets mad at him. Everything's starting to fall apart. He tries to meet with Lisa Bonet again because both their lives are falling apart. She's been fired, and then she
tells him how to get in touch with Brill, and then she's killed, and he's being set up for it.
Yeah.
And so he tries to get in touch with Brill. There's a fake Brill who tries to get the information out of him. Then
we have so much left to
and
cover.
then Brill finds him, and they go to the hotel.
God. And then Brill, then they get chased, and they go to Brill's hideout, and they get chased there. He blows up the building. They go to a hotel. They set up the room. They start surveilling the surveillors. They flip the tables on him, and then from there
they do the meetup, and they're like, and then they capture him, and he's like, "I have the videotape," and he takes him to the mob place, and there's a huge shootout. Everyone kills each other, and everyone is exonerated after that.
And then Brill goes off and gets to ride off into the sunset, and with his hairy legs in the beach, and wish you were here.
Yeah, and Will Smith is just pretty cool with that.
Hey.
Yeah.
Okay, wow,
we skipped some stuff.
We skipped some stuff because at one point we were like, "Hey," and then they were in a hotel. Right. But that's the best thing about this movie is that it's like a chess game where you're watching each player plan ahead, and then you're seeing the ramifications of that strategy, and then you're seeing them turn the tables on him at the end. And when they start surveilling him, and the fact that they make it apparent that they're surveilling them, to know it's just so good. It's such a smart movie.
Yeah, I've often think about Gene Hackman when they're sitting down at that diner. Gene Hackman telling Will Smith, like, when I was in the war, like, this was our strategy. If we were outnumbered, that means we can hide, and they're exposed, and we're quick, and they're slow.
Yeah.
And so it's just like that idea of using your weaknesses as strengths when you're trying to fight in any battle.
Yeah,
really.
like I'm not as funny as you, so I'm just louder on this show, and then I let you be funny. But then people watch it and they think it's like I'm just like yelling a lot.
Sure, sure.
That's my strength.
I do get the note all the time. You should yell more.
Ryan does text you occasionally.
Yeah,
yell
all the time.
More,
yell
Jesse.
more. Yep, there it is.
So, there's. I just want to get the two big problems I have out of the way, and,
Yes.
and they're minor nitpicks because the movie's fantastic.
Yes.
The biggest thing I was wondering is why Jason Lee chooses to come check this videotape when there's a full-on investigation
So
going
this is
on
a
across
big
the way.
problem that no one notices.
Except the one dude who happens to work for John Voight. for
Nobody
Reynolds.
notices. He doesn't really notice them. Like, he clocks it, but is not like, interesting. My camera was pointed right at this criminal investigation that's going on.
It's a very easy.
No one on that side is like, that's interesting. Some dude just drove up to the lake on the other side. The other problem with this whole scenario is that they didn't no one is looking over there. Why isn't anyone looking over there? Like, they could walk across this lake.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Like, they're so focused on the point of entry that no one's like, I wonder if there are tracks on that other side. Or like, I wonder if there's any evidence over there.
And that's a really easy fix where it's like the investigation's done. One of his guys comes back to make sure that nothing's been left behind, and that's when Jason Lee takes his. I get that they did it to probably compress time, but I laughed out loud when it happened because I was like, "What the hell?" I was like, because then at first, since I hadn't seen it in over a decade, I was like, maybe he's doing that on purpose to throw them off, and I was like, is Jason Lee working for the bad guys, and that's why he's being so blatant about taking the tape? And I'm like, oh no, this is just a really weird plot hole.
Right.
And then the second thing is, aside from Barry Pepper and the other dude, does anyone else know that they are murdering people? Because it's very unclear. And then in the end, Jack Black and Jamie Kennedy are the only two being interrogated.
Right.
And they both are saying how they thought it was a training op.
So this is a huge problem. A huge problem, because John Voight sets the whole thing up and he's like, get these satellites, get this tech package, get all this, and forge FBI authorization. Mm-hmm. Tell them it's a training op. What they do is they call the people and they're like, yeah, we have FBI authorization. And that's it. That's how he forges FBI authorization.
The thing I would say is it seems like they're just gung-ho dudes that want to like get in, see some action because they're all so young.
Sure. But what I would counter how I would counter that, pardon me, is Jason Lee dies.
Yeah.
And at that point, anyone who thinks it's a training op should be like, hold on. Yeah. This is, we just killed somebody. Yeah. Someone died.
Nobody really reacts to that.
Nobody reacts. Everyone's just like, well, I got to keep doing audio for these people.
And there's not, I wish there was these, and then we'll get into all the awesome stuff because these are my only problems with it. I wish that Jack Black had done something earlier, because in the end when he's like, well, this is getting weird, I'm going to hit record.
Right.
Just give me a hint earlier that one of them is like, this is kind of strange.
Right.
Because they're such likable characters. The Seth Green character, when he and, was it him and Jamie Kennedy that are using the blender? I can't remember, but...
No, it was the guy who gets like shot.
Oh, yeah. And when and I like the fact that they're, that there's like a comedic relief moment there about the blender, but it's after, if I remember right, a pretty dark moment or something. I can't remember exactly. But if we just... They're so likable that if you just gave me a hint earlier, like even just asking their superiors, like, hey, is this going too far or something?
Or just have the superiors come in and tell them that death was staged.
Or even just be like, look, this is top secret. We can't tell you. It's above your pay grade, but you're helping with national security.
Right.
That's all they had to do.
Yeah.
But instead, it's just like chase, which I love.
Yeah.
And like I said, this is minor nitpicks.
It's minor nitpicks, and it's like you noted in the beginning, staring down the barrel of a 130-minute movie. It's got length to it, and this would add a little bit of length to it. But just something that they could have cleaned up a little bit, just to show us that, like, this is believable that everyone involved in this could have wool over their eyes and not really understand what's going on.
Feasibly could have removed one of the 900 characters or a few of them and then add that in. Because every time I turn around, I'm like, shit, they're introducing...
It's a new guy.
That was a big thing with Bruckheimer, Tony Scott, and Michael Bay, is like they love to just, in the Jerry Bruckheimer era, it was just like every scene. Remember when we watched Transformers 3 and it was just like every scene they're just adding 14 new celebrities? You're like, how many characters are in this movie?
Yeah.
But now, that's all I had. That's the only problem I had with it. So let's get into the good stuff.
Hold on, I have one more problem.
Oh, what's the other
problem? One more problem. They were so willing to or they were so eager to get this stuff back, and the people who were like sent out to do it, who were sent out to interview Will Smith or like look into Will Smith.
Yeah.
They didn't think it was a training op. I don't think.
No,
I think they were part of it,
Barry
right?
Pepper knew it was.
Yeah. Why didn't they just kill him?
Yeah, I like that they didn't because I feel like they were.
It would have ended the movie.
Yeah, well, that. But I think I felt like they were trying to, like they had already done the dirty work, and I feel like the progression of Jon Voight as a villain was that he had killed one person out of necessity, and he justified that, but he wasn't full on sociopath yet. And then the longer the thing goes and the deeper he gets, I would have liked to have known which person killed Lisa Bonet's character,
Right.
so I would have known who I'm rooting to get killed in the end.
Right.
But yeah, I think that that's something where I like the fact that that it wasn't so nefarious, that they were more trying to like get ahead of this thing and silence him without just, because killing him would have been.
It was necessary, clearly,
Yeah.
for the character development and the movement forward of the film. But if they were like, they showed a willingness to kill on multiple occasions, and like this is the guy who is the main impediment here.
They also like full on let him escape several times when they could have just shot him.
Yes.
But those chase scenes are damn good.
Yes.
Let's get into this.
Cool.
What's our
Let's
first
do it.
sound clip? Would you know what, can you set this up for me, Jesse?
Yeah, so this is when they're introducing Scott Conn and the other military guy.
Yeah. Jake Busey.
Jake Busey, yes. Yeah. And they're basically like giving the rap sheets.
I've met Gary Busey.
Have you?
He's an interesting guy.
He seems like one.
He's a character. Anyways.
And
That's all I'll say.
They're reading the rap sheets, and they're like, "Oh, interesting, Scott Conn. You have you did 30 months in jail for assaulting someone." And
His officer, or lead off.
yeah. And Scott Conn's response to him was this.
The guy was an asshole, sir, and he deserved it, if you'll excuse me.
All right.
Hey, that justifies it for me. Say no more.
You know, they're probably like, this guy seems like a dude who will be okay with killing some people in a training op.
Yes. Yeah. This guy seems like he would do well to be trained.
You know, and Jake Busey was in Starship Troopers, and somebody got killed in a training op during that. So he's used to it. You know, maybe it's just the same character in different timelines. He's in the multiverse.
He also thought he was the good guy.
Have you seen Starship Troopers?
No, I have not.
What?
Yeah.
It's one of the best. There's a part where they're using live round ammunition in a training session, and he's like, "My helmet, it's stuck, sir!" And he's like, "What are you?" And they're yelling at him, and he takes it off in the middle of it, and then somebody falls down and blasts his head off. And then Casper Van Dien runs up and screams out, "Medic!" And clearly his brains are everywhere. Oh, it's incredible. It's such an incredible... Oh, God. I can't believe we haven't... we did it before, but maybe we'll do it again because it's one of my favorites. Yeah. Anyways, so yeah, there's this whole rounding up of these cowboys that are going to join Jon Voight's, which there's some hilarious stuff in there that at the time didn't seem as incendiary as it is now, where like I say, this movie feels more relevant and more realistic now, where Jon Voight's saying, it's just the liberal hysteria when he's talking to... The only thing that seems fictional is that Hammersley is a Republican and not easily bought.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying all Republicans are easily bought. I'm just saying that right now there is a trend...
It's a strange time.
It's a strange time where people are just like... It's just like party over everything.
To be honest, it was strange to hear any politician of any identification be like, I don't care what you have to say. My constituents tell me what to do.
Exactly.
Like, all right.
Let's be honest.
Yeah.
Republican or Democrat, there's a lot of people that are just taking lobbyist money
special
on both
interests
sides.
are especially interested.
The two-party system is broken. Anyways, what if we just do a dissertation on modern politics versus enemy
Speaking
of
of
the state?
two-party systems.
That's what people came here for.
Yeah, it is.
I could go into the intricacies of this plot, but that would take hours because it's so intricate. But they just the setup of how they place all the characters in play, where it's like Will Smith goes to Pintero's, right? Pintero's place. The FBI clocks him, and then
the FBI is so useless.
Don't do anything. We just gotta wait for the cops. But I love that they set all these pieces up. Again, okay, other issue. I'll skip all the way to the end.
Yeah.
When at the end there's a huge shootout, and then they're like, "Don't worry, he's not one of them," and they let Will Smith out. I'm like, how do they know he's not?
Okay, so this is my favorite thing in the whole movie is the second when they come back at the very end, and the FBI guy is like, "That's that lawyer from last time." Like, what? What do you mean from last time? Like, no one else has entered this restaurant in the last week?
I think he meant just the same lawyer. That's all.
That's what he meant.
Yeah.
And clearly, like, they put it in there
it.
just to, like, clear it up for anyone who wasn't paying attention.
Yeah.
But it was just such a funny reference to me of being like,
I just don't know how
from the last time I was here, like, oh, I just happened to be here.
Why wouldn't they think he was involved though? Like,
right? Yeah, they would.
Wouldn't they think he's even more involved because he's shown up there twice now?
Yeah.
And then a shootout transpired when he brought new people there.
Yes.
But so that's a little where they kind of just rush the denouement of it, where it's like, oh, that was a playwriting term.
Hey now.
The falling action. Read Sid Field's screenplay. Anyways,
Speaking of the two-party system.
first off, wherever this lingerie store is, next Christmas, I don't think I should shop there. I've never seen a lingerie store like this.
Listen, it covers a lot of real estate and doesn't have a lot of product.
No.
But it has a lot of people wearing the product.
Yes, I've never seen a lingerie store where they wear the product. So this is definitely out of like a Michael Bay.
You are so stressed out right now.
I
just
don't even
thinking
know.
about
It's
it.
just like, it makes me. Is it hot in here? Or is it just the fictional lingerie store from Enemy of the State? Let's play the.
This is an extremely Will Smith scene.
This reminds me. This is like Will Smith playing Clark Griswold from Christmas Vacation when he's talking to the lingerie clerk.
I can see that.
Yeah? All right, let's play it.
You know, I have to be really honest with you. I'm not really experienced in this. I don't.
Get out of town.
I mean, don't get me wrong. I mean, I'm experienced, you know, from a certain perspective.
Right.
But I just, you know, I don't want to come in here and, you know, look stupid. Too late.
What size?
I'm sorry. Oh, my wife. Oh,
Yeah.
yeah. She's about she's.
Size 6.
Yeah, right. She's a 6.
Right. And what about cup size?
Oh, she's way bigger than that. I mean, not noticeably.
Oops.
Should have gotten her a watch.
The scene is so good. It's the back and forth is ridiculous.
Yeah.
And that's where it works. There's some of the times where he's trying to play his comedic stuff with Tom Sizemore. That scene bugged me because I was like, although it establishes he has balls, like he's going in there with this swagger that he doesn't fully earn in that scene because these guys could shoot him at any moment.
Yeah. And I honestly don't understand why they don't.
Just kill him.
Yeah.
He has the tape.
He hasn't threatened to like release the tape if I'm killed or anything like that.
Yeah.
They're like, I'll give you 1 week.
Yeah.
Like, all right, why?
And that's another arbitrary. So there's a few things that are a little arbitrary.
Yeah.
I'm going to give you 1 week. Why
Right.
don't you just say, hey, we're going to follow you home. You're going to give me the tape,
I'm
or
gonna
we're
put
going to kill
a
everybody.
gun to your head right now, and if you don't tell me, then I'm going to shoot you in the head.
Maybe Pintero is just the world's worst mobster.
He just had something to do. He was like, all right, I got to get
had
to
to do
softball practice.
He had to do a lot of sweating.
Yeah. Oh, there's so much sweating in those scenes.
And when he's sitting there eating with his family, they're all completely dry, and he's just drenched in
Will
sweat.
Smith also sweating in that scene. It was like a weird.
I think he was sweating from nerves.
Sure.
But Tom Sizemore just sweating because
it was also John Voight. Like there were a couple people who were clearly sweating, and then a
just
couple
hot
people
as
who
hell.
clearly weren't. Yeah.
It was hot. Well, also, it's supposed to take place around Christmas time, and it's
Right.
like
Right.
summer weather.
Well, they're pumping the heat because it's so cold outside. It's got to be hot in there.
Yeah. So what's this next?
So
sound
this
clip?
is Will Smith is back home after going shopping, and his kid's going off to Dylan's house to hang out with Dylan for the weekend.
Good old Dylan.
And he's telling his wife, "Hey, hurry back
because we're gonna do some stuff.
We're gonna do some stuff."
Honey, hurry back. You know what that means?
That you're gonna be asleep when I get back?
That only happened one time, sweetie.
Never live it down.
I love. See, that's another. The only comedic moment that didn't work was the one with Tom Sizemore, where he's like getting too jokey there. But all this stuff is classic Will Smith.
And like, just to circle back to that the lingerie clip was about half of that scene.
Yeah.
Like it's a full probably minute and a half.
Yeah.
And normally, if you take a minute and a half just to like tell a joke in a movie, it bugs me and it seems out of place and it doesn't work in the movie. And for some reason, like when he was doing it in this movie, it felt such a part of what was going on.
Yeah.
That it didn't bother me at all.
Because Will Smith was king.
Yeah.
And he still is to an extent here and there. You know,
Yeah.
he still has some great projects that come out.
Sure.
What was the last really good one?
Aladdin.
I didn't see that.
Nor did I.
Nor did I.
Yeah.
I'm excited for Bad Boys 3.
Yeah.
I'm
How could you not be?
super pumped for Bad Boys 3. I did want to just note real quick before we go into the next clip where is that they were playing, I'm not sure which Jet Moto game, but I think it was 2. on PS1,
Yeah.
and I was very pumped.
Yeah.
'Cause I used to play the shit out of some Jet Moto back in the day.
Sure.
Oh, doing the flips. Oh, and Wave Runner. Did you play Wave Runner on the 64?
No.
I thought that this is going to date me. Kids that now play, or young adults that now play VR. Wave Runner on the N64, I was like, this is the most realistic jet ski game I've ever played in my life.
And it was.
Yeah.
The most realistic jet ski
at that
game you've
point.
ever played in
At
your
that
life.
point,
Yeah.
you know?
Very niche.
So they come in when he goes to pick up their kid from Dylan because he doesn't want to stay the night or something. It's unclear, but who cares?
I just
They
pick
come
him
and
up.
bug
Yeah.
the hell out of his place, like everywhere, which is my nightmare to think
Yeah.
that everybody's watching you. So this, and from that moment on, they start really messing with his life. But this is a fun clip between him and Regina King before that.
Yeah, as they're driving back.
You are the only woman in the world for me. You and Janet Jackson. I have to be honest, if Janet Jackson called me, I might have to change my last name to Jackson.
I mean, okay.
Just from a phone call.
Hey.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Hey, this is Janet Jackson. Oh, crap. Now I'm Jackson.
I got to do some paperwork.
All right. Got to go down to the DMV.
Can you leave your number? I'm going to call you back. I got to go to the Social Security office. Change some things around.
Have you ever, do you have celebrity outs, like jokingly with your wife?
We've not discussed it. No.
It's funny because when Renee and I first started dating, I brought up the idea of celebrity outs as a joke because we were watching something. I was like, I was like, Natalie Portman, totally my celebrity out. And she was like, what's that? I was like, oh, where you're like cool if like your husband or boyfriend cheats on you with this one celebrity. And she's like, why would you ever say that? We're actors. That could happen someday. And now that we've been together for so long, it's like we have a laundry list together where she's like, all right, Jake Gyllenhaal, Ryan Reynolds.
You have like tears.
Paul Rudd. Yeah, it's like, which Chris Hemsworth, I think, is at the top of her list. And I'm like, okay, Gal Gadot, 100%. And it's like, but then now my list is just like of women I would disappoint.
Oh, that's sweet.
I always tell her, I was like, oh, Gal Gadot, I would disappoint you so
You would
bad.
be so.
You would be so disappointed.
You would forget about me immediately.
Oh, God, that's immortalized in podcast history now. All right, let's hope. What's this next one? So they start dismantling his life.
Yes.
They make him look like he's under FBI investigation.
He gets fired from his
He gets
job.
fired from his job. His wife thinks he's cheating on her because he had an affair with Lisa Bonet's character 4 years ago, and that's a big thing.
He had a relationship with her in college, and then
Yep.
he had an affair with her later.
Yep. And then he's talking to Lisa Bonet about Rachel, I think is her name.
Yes.
Yeah, Rachel. And he talks to her about meeting Brill. He waits for him on the ferry. Brill never shows up until the end, and it's Gabriel Byrne. He tells him about the foot tracker he has, wins over his trust, then tries to shoot him. He escapes.
Turns out it's a fake. He takes out the fake foot tracker.
Yep.
Yeah, and then somehow puts the shoe back together.
I thought he took out one of the several trackers.
So there was 6 listed, and only one of the ones on the list was shoe, and he took out the second shoe one later. Oh. So he took out a sort of phony
I
one,
see. Okay.
just to prove.
You would know. You've seen it way more than me.
Yeah, just to
I'm
prove
gonna trust you on
the
this one.
trust.
Okay.
And he shows it to him. He throws it in the toilet, but that wasn't a tracker. It's
Yeah.
just a fake one. And then they go off on their merry way. And he's trying to get information from him, like, well, maybe you do have something that they want. What did he give you? And then
there's this awesome chase through the hotel where he's like scaling the walls. He has to strip down because he meets the real Brill. The real Brill rear ends Gabriel Byrne. Him and this is 55 minutes into the movie, and Gene Hackman.
We've just now met Gene Hackman.
Yes.
Yeah.
And everything from here on out is amazing.
Yeah.
Where Gene Hackman and him go to the top of the building, and they make sense out of everything. Where the satellites are going to scramble their signals. He takes him in the elevator, takes all of his trackers off, and puts them in a bag.
Yeah, so he's in the elevator, he's grilling him the same way. He's like, what did they give you? What did they give you? And he's like, I don't know.
Yeah.
And so Gene Hackman's response to that is this.
Either very smart or incredibly stupid.
Yeah. I often think that about our president.
Yeah, it's a fine line for sure.
I'm like, you're either a pathological maniac or just incredibly stupid.
Or you're trying to convince us that you're a pathological maniac, right? That's the very smart version of it. So he's saying, like, you've either convinced yourself that nothing happened or truly nothing happened.
And that's the thing, that not remembering what the hell happened to the thing was driving me crazy. I was like, where did this thing go?
Yeah.
And then it's such a good turn where, of course, his kid's like, it was already open, so I just took it. And it turns out it was the TurboGrafx. I wrote it down. I took a screenshot of it. It was the NEC Turbo Express, which was the TurboGrafx 16 version of the Game Boy, where you could play TurboGrafx 16s in full color on it.
Yeah.
But by the time this movie came out, it had been dead for years.
Well,
I
no wonder Jason Lee had it and was just like using it to transport.
I have played Bonk's Adventure many times. It was
Did
a
you
caveman
really?
with a giant head. I could relate. So I have a huge dome.
Is that why?
His attack was just headbutting people.
Like, I need a game with a big head.
I just need a game that makes me feel normal.
Yeah. So yeah, you were saying the hotel chase.
Hotel chase is so good.
So he runs
it's
off
so
the
long
roof.
and complicated.
Yeah. He runs down the stairs because the helicopter's after him. He finds out
Uptime.
all through.
Yeah.
He finds out that people are chasing him. So he sees people coming up the stairs. He sees people coming up the elevator.
Yep.
So he goes into Mr. and Mrs. Wu's room.
So good.
And then they knock on the door, yelling out his name, and he starts stripping his clothes to
Because he
get rid of the
realizes
trackers.
all the trackers are still
Yep.
there.
And Mrs. Wu does this.
Clip number 6.
Mr. Dean?
I love that you labeled this clip Mrs. Wu's Woo.
I love it so much.
Mr. Dean?
I love that because she doesn't speak English, but she is able to mutter, "Oh yeah, oh yeah."
I used to work at a rock and roll sushi bar. God rest its soul. It's now burned down.
It'll come back.
Tokyo Delves. It burned down. If you didn't know it, it lit on fire and burned down. It's sad. It was
Pretty
a fun,
recently,
Yeah,
yeah.
like 2 weeks ago. It was a really fun place to work. And we used to do goofy lap dances for bachelorettes. And by goofy, I mean we weren't actually on their laps. We would just dance in front of them with a fake bare chest, like like a mask, but for your chest.
Sure, yeah,
So
yeah.
like it had abs and stuff. So clearly not me.
Right.
And we just dance in front of them to music playing. And most of the time when I did it, since I just don't exude sexiness.
Don't say that.
They would just force out their applause for me, and it would sound a little bit like Mrs. Wu. And I'd be like,
Mr. Dean?
and then somebody would be like, Mr. Dean? I'm like, that's not me.
That's not me.
That's not me.
You
That's
want
not me.
someone else.
You want somebody else. Yeah, so that happened.
So then he jumps on the balcony. He jumps down a couple floors. He's now gotten rid of all of his
Yeah.
clothes. He's able to escape
And then
the hotel.
And then he finds him again. We're skipping ahead again. He runs through
He
the
runs
tunnel.
on foot
There's the
through
huge
the tunnel.
sequence,
Yep.
which is insane. That whole sequence was awesome. He then calls the cops so that they come try and check out his surveillance team goes away. He goes to find Rachel. Rachel's dead. So then he tracks down Brill again. With the same marking, which was how the FBI actually did it. It was actually a real thing. But then him and Bro go on a pseudo road trip, and he messes up by calling his wife's friend to tell her to get out of the...
Yeah, so this is first he goes home to tell his wife everything that's going on.
Yeah.
And he's like, I need the game, but he's trying to make up with his wife. Sound clip number 7.
I love you, and that is it. That is it. Only you
What about Eric?
and Eric. And I love your family. Except for your dad.
See, but that's great, because it's a moment of levity that shows history between them, because she laughs.
Yeah.
And you get a lot out of that, where it's not just their relationship feels lived in.
Sure,
You
yes.
know, when stuff like, it's not a forced joke. Sometimes in these kind of action movies, you get a joke where you're like, it's a groaner, but that feels like an
Except for your
improv.
dad.
That feels like an improv
Yeah,
that
a little
works,
bit, yeah.
you know? Because, I love that moment. That was a great moment, except your dad.
Except your dad.
You know, he's a prick. He's a total prick. So they go to Brill's super awesome hideout.
Yep.
Which is in this massive, everything you could possibly think of has been used to hide it from any kind of signals. He gives us his technical jargon that I don't remember, but
Yeah.
it sounded real.
Yeah, basically lives in a technical cave.
Bunker, of some sort.
Technological cave.
Yeah, and they're no sooner there, they decrypt the thing, they figure out what they have finally. We're like an hour and a half into the movie, and Will Smith finally figures out, which is what's so cool too, because I love the fact that he's so confused why he's being chased.
Right.
He has no idea if this has to do with, he thinks it's Pintero at first, and so it's such a smart way to make him discover things, because I feel like with the audience, usually when the audience is ahead of the protagonist for too long, it gets boring. But in this, it's fascinating to watch him put the pieces together.
It's great because there's also like they don't give him any time.
No.
Like he's constantly just like running for his life and trying to piece everything back together.
Breakneck.
Yeah.
And you feel the anxiety of like what this would be if suddenly people with guns just started. And he's not an action hero in this. Like Will Smith's a badass. Like he doesn't fight anybody. He's just running.
Right.
So it's not like he's suddenly whooping ass and doing like kung fu.
I'm trying to remember. I don't think he ever throws a punch at all.
Doesn't. I think he like elbows one dude at one point.
He gets
maybe.
punched. Gene Hackman punches him.
Yeah. I don't think he does. I think he just runs.
Yeah.
I mean, he does some sweet ass like parkour down that hotel. I mean,
Sure.
But even that's not too extreme. It's like it's pretty realistic that he jumps from one balcony to another. Like it's not crazy.
Right.
It's not like here's my hero moment. Full on Mission Impossible 6.
No. No.
But Tom Cruise really doing that stuff. So whatever.
The bar has been raised.
The bar has been raised. So we found out Brill used to work for the NSA, and he basically got forgotten after the after they armed Iranians, and then blah blah blah, all this stuff. It's all this crazy stuff where he got forgotten by his government, and he gets the guys show up at his hideout, and Brill and Will Smith escape, and he blows up the entire building. And in fact, the sound clip pretty much says that.
What the hell is happening? I blew up the building. Why? Because you made a phone call.
I love that line so much. Because you made a phone call.
Yeah.
You know,
Hey, it's a high stakes world, man.
You know, my dad got mad at me one time because I had called one of those Nintendo helplines.
Did you?
I don't know if everybody listening might be too young to remember this, but Nintendo used to have helplines. They were 1-900 numbers where you could call them and ask for tips on how to beat the game you were playing. And it was like $4.99 a minute. And they would drag it out to really like figure out where you were in the game, but to rack up a bill. And my dad got the phone bill one time, and he was threatening to break my Nintendo, which we'll pretend is the building in this scenario.
Sure.
And he said this. Clip number 8.
You made a phone call.
All right, there we go.
Nice
You
work.
made a phone call. So let's skip ahead a little bit because we only let me know if we have any more time on the clock, Ryan. If not, we'll speed this along.
You got it.
All right. So now they start dismantling Reynolds' life, John Voight's character, and they
they do the congressman first.
The congressman first,
Yeah.
And they make sure they know they're being surveilled now. They then make it look like John Voight's having an affair. They do every play that they played on Will Smith to him now. So the tables are turned.
Yep.
And then Will Smith brilliantly sets up this meeting because they're both looking for a tape, and they just keep saying tape.
Yeah.
So Pintero's waiting for the tape. John Voight's looking for the tape, and I was getting giddy because I remembered this scene and I couldn't wait. And I remember even when I saw it for the first time, like I couldn't wait to see what happens. And what's Bill first?
So this is when they're like stocking up and they're going to the hardware store, and he's Gene Hackman's like, say hi to Bill, and both the cashier and Will Smith both say hi, Bill, and this is the fallout of that.
Steve, I thought you said his name was Bill.
No, you're Bill. I'm Bill. You don't have to let me know I'm Bill. I just did.
It's so good. Everything with Gene Hackman and Will Smith in this movie is fantastic. So they meet. Is the You're Too Young before?
That's when they're watching the congressman, and he's hooking up with the aide, and Gene Hackman says you might be too young to watch this.
So they get video of the congressman hooking up with his aide, which they could use to blackmail him feasibly, and that makes him nervous, which is also going to shut down the bill.
Yep.
So let's play clip number 10.
I think you're too young to watch a spider.
Yeah, so is she.
Yeah, there we go. So there's this fantastic sequence. I want you to describe the ending because you've seen this so many times. Describe the shootout for me.
Okay, so basically John Voight's like, I need the tape, give me the tape, and Pintero's like, the tape belongs to me, you're not getting the tape. And so Pintero gets up and shoves John Voight's face.
Awesome.
And he goes flying against the wall.
I could watch that on repeat.
Every single person in the room takes out a gun. So everyone's pointing guns at each other, and they're like, you put the gun down, you put the gun down, you put the gun down. Meanwhile, Gene Hackman's in the truck.
I'm
like,
reliving this
everybody
right now.
get in there. You guys have to get in there. This is going crazy. Get in there. And so Jack Black grabs a gun. The other guy who's in there, I forget who else is in there. He grabs a gun. They all go in, so they all have guns. Busey and Scott Conn are coming from the back, so they go into the kitchen where the cooks have guns. And so John Voight's like, all right, I'm putting my gun down. I'm putting my gun down. He does, and it looks like he's about to walk out when Busey comes flying in, and he goes,
he says
like, everybody put your hands up or something like that. The cook blows him away, and then everybody just shoots at the person across from them.
It's insane.
So everyone dies. Will Smith goes under the table. Everyone else gets shot to death.
He's very lucky nobody fired once they hit the ground anymore.
Right. And then Will Smith is about to come out, and the cook comes out to try and shoot him. I think it's the cook.
Yeah.
And the FBI finally comes in and tells the cook to get down on the ground.
It seems like the cook who started it all is the only one that survives.
Yeah.
Lucky him.
Good for him.
Oh, it's so good. And then the act is postponed until the Patriot Act in real life.
Until later.
And Will Smith is happy now.
Will Smith is happy. Gene Hackman puts the thing and is like waving hi to Will Smith, and Will Smith thinks it's in the thing on the ceiling, but it's clearly, if you watch it, it's a camera in his TV because he's just staring at his TV, but doesn't get up to remove it. He's just cool being surveilled.
Yeah.
So there you go.
And that's it. One of the best surveillance thrillers, action thrillers ever.
One of my favorite movies.
We did it!
Of all time.
We did it. We have to wrap up. That's all the time we have. Jesse, until next time, where can they find you?
You can find me on Twitter and Instagram at TooMuchJesse, and for Sketch at The Prom Losers.
That is a very loud applause. Hey, and you can find me at the Ben Begley on Twitter and Instagram, and we love these comments that you guys are giving us. So please start a debate if you disagree with us. We would love to have a fun discourse with people. Like, let's debate film. That's what we're here for.
Yep.
And let's also keep your suggestions coming. I know Life Force has been a big one. Dreamscape was one. Super Mario Brothers. We got a whole list that we're forming, so we want to know which ones.
Comment on our iTunes.
And maybe Pixels.
Yeah, Pixels, please.
Bride of Chucky we're going to do next week since Child's Play came out this weekend. And then we'll figure it out from there. But until next time, what is your guilty movie pleasure?
From producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire Popcorn Talk Network, we would like to thank you for tuning in. For questions or comments, be sure to visit popcorntalk.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of the Popcorn Talk Network.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.